So, Coach, tell me about so basically just a kind of general scouting report, your team, working back and forth, and then we'll get into your conference a little bit.
Great.
For a separate piece, kind of just do it, quick little ECAC, the ever-changing ECAC.
Yeah.
But we'll start with kind of like we just said, spring isn't that far away. You guys open at the end of February, so.
Yep.
Practice is going to start not too long after Christmas break.
Practice starts on January 11th for us. We're in exams right now, kind of a downtime, and it's healthy that the guys actually do go home for a couple weeks, come back, and they know it's 24/7, and it starts for real on the 11th. Probably about 5 weeks of preseason, and then we open up with a scrimmage with Maryland and Drexel, and then on the 20th we take the field against the Naval Academy, February 20th. So I think the one thing that's changed in Division I is everybody's starting their seasons a little bit sooner, and no longer is your first game in March. We're backing up into scrimmages in January, and our first game's mid-February.
So general overview maybe of your team. How do you feel coming out of fall into spring? Overall thoughts, impressions you have of your 2010 team?
I'm excited. We've changed for sure. We've looked at a guy like Shane Coppins and P.T. Ricci between the lines for 4 years, and I think that what we have this year are opportunities for other guys to make their name. Guys like Colin Finnerty, it's their opportunity to step up. Cooper McDonnell at attack for us. Matt Langan, who's kind of been the first guy off the bench, will probably be a guy that's a regular attackman for us. And DJ Comer this fall really impressed us, as well as some other young men. But I think that our message to our team has been, this is where we are in the fall, and a lot of new faces. We need to gel. We need to come together. Certainly, we're looking forward to having Colin back. He was in Australia all fall, so he comes back and joins the program in the spring. And we're looking for some new leaders to step up and really guide this team.
You mentioned both of them by name, but that 1-2 punch you have on attack of Cooper and Colin. Talk a little bit about them and how they play together and what their games are, and then who else might be in the mix up there for you?
Sure, absolutely. Colin's the first thing you notice about him is his size. Obviously, he's a rangy kid, but right about now, he's putting some good weight on. He's a strong kid, so he's a guy that can really lean on you and get to top side. He used to be a catch and shoot guy and be able to stretch the defense a little bit, but now we're looking at him changing his role a little bit towards maybe being able to create, maybe being able to bang a little bit more below goal line and carry for us. Whereas Cooper McDonnell has I've always said, brought that hockey mentality to the game. He's not afraid to bang around goal line. He's a finisher for us. I think he had about 30 goals last year, and so we're looking for him to pick up where he left off. You certainly got Colin on one side and Cooper on the other, and then the change, as I said, for us is who's the guy that's going to control it. And this fall we looked for guys like Nick Federici. We looked for guys like Matt Langan coming in off the bench and really kind of being a guy at X that can kind of make decisions for us, to push aside and to get the ball to our finishers on either wing.
And then on the defensive end of the ball, the name that jumps out is Steve Lane, getting a lot of preseason accolades. Talk a little about him and some of the other guys that'll be manning that end of the field for us.
Sure. Defensively, Steve Lane will be our stopper. There's no doubt. We also have another name that has been out of the equation for a year, and Steven Dirks, who was an all-ECAC player, who we think is going to be healthy this year. So we'd like those two guys to be our cornerstones. But Steven Lane brings a pit bull mentality. He's a fun player to watch. He's probably a 5'9" kid that plays the size of a 6'4" guy below goal line. He just, like I said, his motor runs. And then Steven Dirks, we're still looking for him to take the field and come back off of an ACL surgery. He's just a tough kid that plays with a lot of heart and a lot of energy. Guy like Kyle Cottrell stepped in last year and got some real meaningful minutes for us. He'll be a returner, and he's continued to improve on a daily basis. He's a senior leader for us, as well as Nick DeSimile is coming into his own right now. He played an awful lot this fall, and guys like Dylan Grimm, who was a freshman last year, sophomore this year, really starting to get their first minutes and have impressed the coaches.
And in the net, how's that shaping up?
You know, we're still we got two very good goalies, and I would even say this year I think that we've got three guys. Obviously, Jake Hagelin is back, and Alex Petey is coming back for his graduate school year, so we feel very comfortable with those two guys. And then we've got a freshman in Michael Bontatabas who's been excellent this fall and really has transitioned into, you know, as well as you can in a freshman year, becoming a leader. And I think he's definitely going to be the heir apparent down the road.
And then talking about, you know, looking at your schedule here, I mean, you mentioned the Open in February 20th with Navy, non-conference, Notre Dame, Duke. Georgetown's not a conference game anymore.
That's right.
That's, you know, Georgetown.
Towson, Hopkins.
Hopkins. I missed Hopkins. Was down there. Yeah, I mean, another, you know, a typical Loyola schedule, right, Coach?
Yeah, you know, it helps us to go into a living room of a recruit and say you're going to play those teams. You know, we're excited about the ECAC, but we will also point to, you know, who are you playing out of league. You have to win your conference games. You have to compete at a very high level. But then, really, when you're looking at your out of conference games, you're looking at seeding, and you know, the challenge for us is obviously to not be close anymore, to get over the edge, you know, get over the top on a few of those teams. And I think last year was a year of near misses in some of those games, and you know, learning how to win has been the message this year. And you know, I know that the guys, they don't fear taking the field, you know, against anyone right now. Our challenge is to finish the team off in the fourth quarter.
And you talked about the ECAC. You talk about, you know, some changes. You know, UMass is gone, Georgetown's gone. You know, just to separate conferences. You bring in Denver, Ohio State, Quinnipiac, Bellarmine, all. You talk a little about the ever-changing ECAC.
Well, you know, the challenge as a coach is that you know how a team plays. You know, we had a good idea of what we were going to see up at Penn State, philosophy-wise, and UMass and Rutgers and St. John's, and now you add these teams out of the Great West, and you know, we're trying to watch as much tape as we possibly can. You know, to not only learn personnel, but how do they handle different situations? What type of offense are they playing? And so I think it's going to be, you know, a year where we're probably bunkered into the office a little bit and trying to learn the personality of each program that we're getting ready to play. You know, again, even with the Naval Academy, that's a new program on our schedule. So, you know, it's a year where you don't have scouting reports to work off of. You're watching tape for the first time, and you're trying to you know, put that first scouting report together. So it's definitely going to be a challenge. You know, it's something that we're excited about. We're embracing the fact that we're going to be in some non-traditional lacrosse areas, and you know, I think it's exciting. I think it's great for our sport, because the one thing I would say in terms of recruiting is we are in those areas for recruits. And so now we're able to go out there and have a presence in that area for Loyola University.
And then, you know, the last one, the tough one, to put you on the spot one, so to speak, the ultimate goal for everybody is to win the national championship. I mean, that's everybody's goal, but only one team, unfortunately, only one team can actually do that. So what, aside taking that out of the equation, what would you consider in 2010 if I run into you later and say, Coach, how'd it go? And you say, we had a good year. And I said, okay, what made it good? You know, why was it a good year? What's going to define a successful season for you guys? Is it simply, you know, is it getting into the tournament this year? Is it, you know, what is a successful season for you in 2010?
You know, obviously, I think that we're going to talk about winning the ECAC. We're going to talk about going to the tournament, and then once we're there, we'd like to take a step and get to that quarterfinal round. But you know, right now with the team that we have, I think really getting better game to game. I think with our schedule, you can't take a weekend off, and to be able to be in a position to get to a quarterfinal game, you don't want to go in as the 16th team. You want to go in somewhere around 8, 9, 10, and put yourself in a position to get to that next round. And you know, that's the challenge, and that's what I would be hopeful of, is that we could compete as we have done in league very well, defend home turf, and then win a couple of these out-of-conference games for seeding, and then really put ourselves in a good position come May to take the next step.
Perfect.
That's great. Hey, thank you very much.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate your stopping by.
Not a problem.